Welcome everybody. This is Yoga for Frontline Workers. I'm Lizzie Brooks and this is where muscle meets mindful. Thank you so much for showing up to practice today. I am here to offer in some teeny tiny minuscule way a thank you to all that you're doing for so many of us. And please just know that we don't take you for granted. So now is some time for you to take care of yourself, to recuperate, to open and get a little bit more relaxed, hopefully, a little bit of strength, but most of this is going to be on the gentle side so that you can really take it easy and rejuvenate. So come on and join me in a child's pose. Knees could be together or separated. Reach your arms forward. Let's get a nice long stretch. Just feel your hands against the earth. Lengthen through the spine. Reach long through the waistline. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Now from here, we're going to round up, dragging the hands back towards the knees, sitting back on the heels. If this is too much, come to high kneeling instead of sitting on the knees. Round the spine. Open into a reverse, so you're going to open the spine here. Exhale, round. Inhale, get neutral in the spine. Exhale, walk forward again for that lengthening child's pose. Take a full inhale, expand your lungs. Let that go. Rise up to all fours. If you want to place a blanket under your knees, feel free to do that, or if you have a towel handy. And then from here, we'll start to round the spine, open the back door to the heart. And on an inhalation, reversing that, going in the opposite direction, not too much. Think length more than height as far as the hips and chest go. Exhale, round again. Inhale, come to a neutral position. Exhale here. And then just start to circle around. So what this is going to do is just get us a little more into the joints, shoulders, wrists, hips. And then we'll take that in the other direction. So rotating around, these could be big circles or small. Just make sure it's pretty slow. And just lubricating, again, those joints that sometimes get a little bit pent up. We want to mobilize those gently. And then come into an all fours position. Now you could go to a child's pose again, or tuck your toes this time and come into a downward facing dog. So there's a lot of different frontline workers and they have many different jobs. If your particular job requires that you sit a lot, this might be lovely for you to open the back of the legs and lengthen that spine, but within reason. So you don't want to overdo it and try to get all of your hamstring stretches for the year right now. Let's take it really, really easily. Don't worry about the heels coming to the floor. Inhale. Exhale, slowly lower. So you're going to lower halfway down and hold. This is where some of that strength comes in. So we're going to find that we're really, really strong and stable here. Trust that stability. Inhale. And then exhale, slowly lower the knees. Sit back for that child's pose. This time we're going to sweep the arms back behind us, turn the palms up, and let the scapula, the shoulder blades, just roll off of the back of the rib cage. You can use a block or a blanket and place your head there if that feels better to you than coming all the way to the floor. Smooth inhale, smooth exhale. Rising on up, go ahead and take that block or blanket off to the side if you used it. And then we'll go back for a downward facing dog. Again, you can skip these downward dogs if they're a bit much and go to a child's pose or even an all fours position. Do a little bit more pedaling out. And then from here, we're going to come into a plank pose, round the spine, drape the head, come into a classic plank. Round the spine, drape the head on an exhale. Classic plank. One more time, just reminding ourselves of our strength in our core, finding that trunk nice and strong. Back to classic plank. Lower the knees, and then keep the belly nice and stable, so don't collapse at the low back. Keep it stable. As you draw your hips forward, bend the elbows to the sides and lower all the way onto the floor, onto the belly. Unfurl your feet so the tops of the feet are on the floor. Separate them about sitting bone distance or a little wider. Gaze down at the floor, hands alongside of the chest, elbows and shoulders loop back. Little itty bitty cobra. So again, some of the work that you might do might be that you round forward a little bit. Maybe you have to be on a computer or driving, something like that. So opening the chest and getting the back body nice and strong. Inhale, exhale, lower a little bit. Inhale, we'll draw up a bit. Exhale, draw down a bit. And don't expect this to be easy. This is not easy work. It's very therapeutic and beneficial work if done right, but it's not easy. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Tuck your toes under, opening the arches of the feet and the toes. Press down into the knees. Keep the elbows from splaying out. They want to. Draw them back. Lift your organs towards your spine. Press it to all fours. Press it to child's. Tops of the feet come down, or you can stay toes tucked to keep opening the toes and the arches if that's needed. Full breath in. Exhale here. We're going to walk our hands back towards our knees. Fingertips tent to the floor. Lift your knees, lift your hips, fold, separate your feet wider than your hips, and then just sway a little side to side. Now, if this is a bit much, especially if you have tighter hamstrings, which is totally normal, you're human, you might use a block or something else, something that you have around the house or a step stool to put your hands on instead of coming into a deeper fold. And just transfer your weight a little side to side. Hopefully that feels like you can provide some breath there. If you aren't breathing enough, that means you need to ease off, bend the knees more, or come higher up. All right, take your feet a little closer in, roughly hips distance apart. Bend your knees around your spine and roll all the way up to stand. And let's just roll the shoulders around a few times. Make space for the lungs, make space for the heart. And we'll come into a bit of a balance. Take your heels to the back of your mat and stand nice and tall. Bring your hands to your heart. Give yourself a moment of as much clarity as you can find now. So it doesn't have to be perfect, but just as much clarity as you can find now. That means finding the breath and then bringing intention through it. So if you haven't set an intention for your practice, here's a great place to do it. Finding out what exactly you need, and then being as open towards that as you can possibly be, bringing that in. From here, we're going to bend the knees into a little bit of a chair pose, so not reaching the tail way back or way under, but kind of in between, nice and supported. And then from here, straighten it up, press the arms back, and hit your props, and then bring your hands back to the chest. And straighten and press. Still working to open that heart. Bringing the hands to the heart, knees bend, working the legs, getting that pump going, so a little more blood flow to those larger muscles. And press back, chest open. Last one, hands to the heart. And press back. Bring your hands here to the heart. Shift your weight over into the left foot. Bring the right knee in any amount. So that could even be here. You could even just be kind of paused on that kickstand. And then any amount of extension, and then put that heel right in front of your other foot. So it's basically heel to second toe alignment, like you're right on a tight wire. This, again, not easy. Looks easy, not easy. Breathe here. So we're finding balance. And then from here, shift your weight into the front leg. Bend your back heel or knee so the heel lifts. Draw that knee in or stay kickstand. Breathe here. So use your breath, use your focal point a little bit in front of you or across the room. And then extend that leg any amount, set it down, you're on that tight wire. Optional lift up this time of the arms, optional lift of the heels. So this is really good brain work for us. And really good just It's hard to think of other things like your to-do list when you're in a balance pose. And then bring your hands to your heart, lower your heels. Back knee is gonna lift up. Breathe here. Extend any amount, place it down. Balance and breathe. Optional lift of the heels, optional reach of the arms. Keep hugging into the midline. Hands to the heart, lower the heels. Back knee draws in and up. Extend. Place it in front. And then from here, we'll walk all the way on that tight wire to the top of the mat. Separating the feet when you get there, sitting bone distance or a little wider. So I want you to feel like you have a really stable base and that you're not trying so hard to just stay steady. Inhale, reach, open the chest, open the heart. Reach up, maybe look up. Exhale, bend the knees any amount as you fold. Inhale, rise halfway up, that's Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold for Uttanasana. With your non-dominant leg, so we're gonna let that non-dominant leg step first. The leg that normally doesn't step first gets to go, and then create a downward facing dog. Remember, as I said, if you don't want a downward dog today, go to a child's or all fours. And let's be really generous with the breathing here. And the action of the hands, so make a fingerprint down into the mat and root the first finger and thumb ball joint so that you're stabilizing all the little muscles, all the little bones of the wrist. And then from here, lower halfway down like you did prior, steady and breathe. And then lower the knees all the way down, press back into child's. Take a full inhale here and an exhale here. Sweep the arms behind you. Now let the shoulder blades round off the back. Breathing. If you need to place something under your head, go ahead and do that. And then reach the arms back in front of you. And like we did before, we're gonna round all the way up. So drag the fingertips, drop the head, round, drape the tail, come all the way up. If this is too much, come to high kneeling. And then we'll reverse, rolling the shoulders back to open through the spine. The spinal movement's so beneficial, so helpful. Let's exhale, round. Inhale. Open it back. All right, so from here, we're gonna come to high kneeling for everybody. So I'm definitely gonna use a blanket on this one. And come on up. Come on, everybody. All right, soften the shoulders. Make sure the knees are not super wide or all the way close together, but again, a stable base here. Roll your shoulders around and back externally, kind of roll them back a few times. And then we're gonna reach out to the sides, take the right arm on top, wrap around any amount. So the fingers might come close or they might not come close on your back, but do your best. And then from here, and actually I'll show you from the side, take the hips back on a hinge, toes are tucked, the hips don't touch the heels. You're gonna round in, open behind the heart and give yourself a hug. Then inhale, unfurl, reach back, expansive through the chest, the pectorals. Imagine the clavicles getting longer and more expansive. It's imaginary, it's not really. Your clavicle, that bone isn't doing that right now. And then left arm on top, wrap around any amount. Reach back with the hips around the spine, drape the head, hug. Inhale all the way up. Now the next two, same thing, but I want you to focus on more of your organs coming towards your spine so it becomes a little more core-centric. Right arm on top, hips draw back, round in, draw the core back, hold. Inhale all the way up, reverse. And then last time, exhale, left arm on top, get that hug, round back, scoop the belly back, hover. And then inhale, come all the way up, float the arms down and soften that out. So this is gonna feel really, really awkward with the shoulders. If it doesn't feel awkward, then you've graduated from all yoga and you never have to do it again. No, I'm kidding. I can't even give you that. I don't own the rights to if you've graduated from all of yoga. Interlace your fingers on your lower back, so the small of your back. Your palms are facing away. And then very awkwardly, as if someone was handing you a gift in front of you, you're going to grab that gift with your elbows. Woo! Like I said, if you don't feel anything here, or if it doesn't feel awkward, then you're done with yoga. Just kidding. So probably you'll feel something through the front of the shoulder. We don't do this shape a lot, really good for us, but we don't do it very much. And now we're gonna reverse. Take the heels of the hands together, elbows back, shoulder blades onto the back, reach the knuckles away, lift the sternum. So if this doesn't work, just reach actively with the arms without the interlacing, or use a strap. What I don't want you to do is lift your chin. So instead, if you are gonna lift the chin, it's secondary to the back bend. So create the back bend from the floor up, lift the sternum, find that expanse, and then if you wanna look up, that would be okay. And then slowly organize yourself back into alignment and shake it all out. Let's come into the hips. So if you wanna use a couple of blocks or anything that just brings the floor a little closer to you, then go ahead and do that. You don't need them, you could just put fingertips on the floor. Right leg comes forward. Left knee is down, toes can be tucked or top of the foot down. So I love this particular sequence. I don't skip it very often in any of my practices just because it does such good. So find your breath and find what you want with that back heel. Make sure the heel's not in or out, but really reaching straight up and back. Roll the shoulders down the back, lift the heart, and again from the floor up, find expanse. As you exhale, shift back into your half Hanumanasana, so you're reaching the hips back, toes reach up, spread them out wide. And we're just gonna go back and forth slowly. Inhale, roll up, open the front of your back hip. Exhale, shift back, opening the hamstrings of the opposite leg. Inhale, roll it up like a wave. And exhale, draw back for a little surrender. Let's do one more. Inhale, give those hips some love. They're that big giant joint of stability, and we want to give them some spaciousness. Exhale, roll back within reason. And then from here, you have the option to open the IT band on the right side. So you can lower your block down a height if you need to, or put your hand on the floor. Right hand comes to the waist, elbow bent, left hand underneath the shoulder. You're gonna grow forward and out of the pelvis. So instead of staying back here and twisting, you're gonna come forward and out of the pelvis a little bit, and then rotate around towards that extended leg. Maybe the top arm comes up. So this one is really big for the outside of that right leg. Make sure you're still breathing. And exhale, unwind it down. Let the sole of the front foot come down. Shift your hips back a little bit. Let the front knee come back. And then just find either a child's pose or a downward dog. Or if you have those blocks handy and you want heart opener, separate your knees wide, toes together. Hands are gonna spread out like starfish on the blocks. Drop the heart down here. Rising up, and let's go to the other side. So find your blocks if you're using them to the height that you need. Left foot comes forward. You're gonna make that choice. What feels best for your back knee and hip, depending on it. There's no steadfast rule about what happens in the back toes. I want you to go based on sensation, okay? And then from here, roll it up. Open the front of that right hip. Exhale. Take it back, nice and easy. And you don't even have to straighten that front knee all the way. Don't worry about that. As long as you're getting a stretch, you're doing it right. Inhale, roll it up, extension. Exhale, slowly empty the lungs, shift the hips back. Inhale, river it up. And exhale, soften it back. Last one, inhale, open, heart opens. Exhale, take it back. Spread those left toes. And then again, your hand could be whatever height it needs to be, that right hand. onto the block or onto the floor, or fingertips, shoulder over the wrist. Left hand to the left waistline. Grow long, so it's an expansive movement first on an inhale, and then exhale for the twist. Stay here or reach the top arm up. And so a note about the neck, if I'm looking up and that doesn't feel good, especially with whatever you're doing on the front lines, if you're overworking through the jaw, the neck, the trapezius, if you're kind of have a head forward position a lot, then it might not feel good to do something like this. So maybe you look forward or look down and maybe see how that feels on the neck. Careful with the neck. Inhale, exhale, unwind down, blocks to the same height, and then take that front knee back. From here, take your blocks to the sides if you're using them. Take your blanket off to the side. And we'll go back into our last offering for downward facing dog. So if you want to skip this one, skip it. If you want to join me, come on in. And then from here, walk your left foot a little more towards the midline. Okay, so the same distance from the hands, the feet stay that same distance, but that left foot walks a little more towards the midline. Then extend the right leg out and back any amount. It might be 2 inches off the floor, whatever it is, and just breathe there. This especially if you don't stack the hips, it really does give a nice lengthening into the IT band on that left side again. And then from here, round that in and place the shin down, okay? So from here, it's going to be kind of an odd balance here. You're more on a tightrope than separated. So we don't do this very often, but we're just doing this here. And then we'll send the hips back and press through the back heel, walk the fingertips back any amount, and lift the heart. So this is mostly for the front of your left hip again. We're back into the hip flexors here, so as maybe breathing. Activate the back leg more and more and more. Back knee is lifted. If that doesn't work for you or bothers you, you can put this all the way down, okay? Breathing. It's not classic pigeon because the knee is way forward of the ankle, almost on a straight line. And then hands come down. Now listen carefully on this one. Your toes are already tucked on that back foot, unless they weren't, and then do that. Lift the pelvis first, activate the core, then step it back to your downward dog. So I guess technically it was 2 downward dogs because we need one in between. And then from here, lift the left leg, or walk the right foot a little more into the midline, lift the left foot. Breathe here, soften the neck, the contents of the heart, let them spill into the brain here. And then round in, shin comes down, knee points forward, ankle points back. Back heel is lifted and kind of on that tightrope a little more. It's not an exact tightrope, but it's just not way off to the side. Breathe here, lift the heart. Oh my, do you feel a difference from one side to the other? Because I do. Let me know. Let me know in the comments if you felt that as much as I did. Holy moly. Breathing here, your breath is key. And then from here, remember we want to stabilize that sacrum and that low back before we shift. So lift up, activate, hands come down, and then come back. Now this time you can come to a child's pose or all fours, or back into that downward dog. And then we're going to roll into a plank, and then lower the knees and lower all the way to the belly. Tops of the feet down. Reach the arms back. Coil the shoulder blades onto the back. So in the same way we've been prepping this entire time, using that back bend without jetting the chin, slowly start to baby lift here. Just a baby lift, getting the whole posterior chain active. Tops of the feet are down. That's actually harder, I believe, than lifting the feet. So as far as the work in the back, breathing here. We have to keep that nice, strong back of the core. Yes, the back of the core. We're not just the surface muscles there. Inhale, lift a little higher. Exhale, come on down. Make a little pillow with your forearms and place one side of your head down or forehead, and just rock the hips a little side to side. Ease out any gripping in the low back or glutes and just breathe. Nice and slow with that breathing. And then from here, we're just going to roll onto our backs. So keeping the head in the same position that it was, roll onto your back and hug the knees in, rocking a little side to side. And then soles of the feet come down to the floor. Lift your arms up and back. So still, we're just really focused on this heart center today. Shoulders, lungs, rib cage. Take a full inhale and exhale. Now, what I'm going to ask you to change is going to be different through the abdominals and through the reach of the pelvis. So you're going to tuck your tailbone as if it was going to tuck between your legs, and you're going to take your low back to the floor on the exhale. So inhale here. Exhale, take the low back onto the floor. So I'm going to exaggerate. So say I was here for my inhale. On my exhale, I'm going to lower down and scoop the belly and draw the core down. Breathing there, but keeping the arms where they are. And then from here, right hand is going to touch the left knee. So just draw that in. And the whole time you're keeping your low back towards the floor. So don't let it pick up. If it does pick up, reset it and come back. And then slowly right hand back, left foot down. Keep the low back on the floor if you can. Left hand to right knee. Nice, slow, concentrated work. And then slowly unwind that. This is also good crossing the midline, good for the brain. And then low back to the floor, crossing right hand to left knee. And slowly back. We really want to take care of our low backs and make sure that we're strong also in the core through the entire trunk, and open in the shoulders within reason, and slowly back. Now from here, if you want a little bit more, you can take the right hand to the left shin or toes, leg could be straight or not, and unwind back to a bent knee position, straight right arm. Low back draws to the floor. Then you're going to find what feels best, knee, shin, toes, or straight with the hand and the toe. And slowly back, bent knees. And then from here, you have the option to interlace your fingers behind you. Wrap your elbows, so you're not splaying them to the side, but wrap them up around the spine, lift. And you can stay here or draw your knees slowly in to touch your elbows and slowly out a little bit. Slowly in to touch and slowly out. Nice and gentle strengthening. Take it slow, don't go too far. In and slightly out. Last one, in and hold. Press the knees a little more into the elbows and slowly out. Again, that was not easy. It's helpful work, not easy. And then reach your legs long in front of you. Sway the hips a little bit side to side. Check in with the jaw. So you want to make sure that from the inner ears all the way into the jaw, that's releasing. And then place the hands however they feel good on the belly or the heart in the belly, or out or up. You choose. And go into the breathing. So on this one, I don't want you to be holding muscular energy in this Shavasana or final relaxation, so your low back won't be touching the floor. If that doesn't feel good, then bend your knees and tuck the tail a little bit so that more of the sacrum is touching. And then you could also use a bolster or a blanket under the knees to be helpful with that. So locating your breath and clarifying the moment as much as you can. Being a human with all the light and all the dark, no perfection. Feeling the feels, right? So just feeling what it is that might bubble up so that you can address it. And thanking yourself for all of the hard work that you do. Please know that it's not thankless, that there are so many of us who are deeply, deeply appreciative, and you deserve this you time. And I hope that you will find as much rest as you can in your day And even if all you can do is a few minutes of breath work or laying on the floor and, you know, taking your hands to your heart and belly, whatever it is that is stabilizing to you, that brings you back to yourself, please do find those moments. And I appreciate you showing up, and come back and visit anytime. And if this was helpful for you, if you would like to and subscribe, that would be lovely. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and thank you so much. Namaste.